All right, let's get started. Thank you all for your patience. My name is Glenn Furman. As was stated, I'm the former co-founder and co-managing partner of MSD Capital, Michael Dell's family office. I'm now the co-head of True Arrow Partners in New York. I'm also the founder of the Flag Art Foundation, an exhibition space here in New York, which is why I was recruited to make this introduction about 30 seconds ago, so I apologize. Somebody gave me a prepared speech from somebody else's introduction, but I'm going to just wing it, so apologize if I don't get all the facts completely right. But Justin Wadlington, who's standing here beside me, is a very special person and a very unique artist. He was introduced to me, fascinatingly enough, by Shaquille O'Neal, who is a man I was lucky enough to know through some other things I had done in my activities. And when I got to know Justin, I was really blown away, not just by his art, but by his personal story and his personal triumph. I will just give a very, very small snippet. When Justin was 5 years old in Philadelphia, he was playing like any other 5-year-old, running through the hallways, running around doing different things. And unfortunately, he ran into a nail and immediately lost his eye, completely gone at 5 years old. He is now known as the blind eye artist, and he took that incredible tragedy and turned it into a strength. He's from a very humble and really extraordinary beginning. His father passed away when he was 2 years old. His mother was murdered when he was a young adult. And yet, none of these horrific setbacks had an impact on destroying his vision and his ambitions for the future and to have a happy life. He trained himself as an artist, even back in the day when he was 5 years old in a hospital. He still has this incredible drawing he made as a 5-year-old self-taught artist. And he has spent his life continuing to teach himself, continuing to hone his craft, and has now reached a level where he has sold paintings to world-class collectors, he has sold paintings to major celebrities, and he just has an incredible life. And so I am very happy to be a collector of his work myself. I'm also extremely happy to be a friend, to have been a witness at his recent wedding, and to have actually introduced him to his wife, Dejanay, who's here taking some pictures. So without any further ado, let me introduce Justin Wadlington. Thank you.
Whew, man, I might as well just unveil the painting now. He just said everything I was about to say. So, thank you, Big G. It's pretty hard to follow that. But first of all, I want to say, it's a pleasure to be in this room with all you great people. And I am looking forward to soaking in a lot of information and maybe even possibly having a great conversation later on. With that being said, my name is Justin Wadlington. I am a self-taught artist. I was born and raised in Philly, PA. And, throughout the years, I've acquired several nicknames. One of them is the blind eye artist. And I just want to ask anybody, can anybody guess why my nickname is the blind eye artist? Seriously, that name is pretty interesting. It ended up becoming the title to a film, a documentary that was made based off of my life story. And that life story consisted of, me just earlier days growing up to my ascent into becoming an artist. And I guess I would emphasize becoming because I think there was a long period where I wasn't really aware of what I was doing. It just kind of happened naturally. So with that being said, just like Glenn mentioned earlier, I've had, let's see, before I get to that, I initially studied with just graphite pencil, that was my medium. And throughout the years, I realized that I wouldn't necessarily be able to reach my full creative juices with just using pencil. So as I got older, told myself, you know what, if I really want to take this to the next level, I was always a fan of going to the Philadelphia Museum of Art and things like that. I needed to learn how to paint. So I basically taught myself how to paint about like 10, 12 years ago. And through those years of repetition and just pushing myself, challenging myself to try everything that I wasn't comfortable at doing, I reached a level of being able to, like Glenn mentioned, having Kevin Hart acquire my work, Shaquille O'Neal, Brook Shields is a collector. Who else? I just did a painting for Ray Lewis, Hall of Fame linebacker. I have my collection. Who's in Tom and Diane Tuft? They are collectors of my work. Glenn and Amanda Furman. Shout out to Big Jeff right here, Jeff Cohen and Jody Cohen. And the list goes on. I've sold prints and originals to people all over the world, and it's pretty crazy. And all of that is now on the documentary Blind Eye Artist, which is streaming on Amazon Prime, if anybody wants to check it out. So with that said, what is art necessarily? I could spend all day talking about what is art, but I feel like, to sum it up, art is basically food for the soul. And I always compare it to water, needing food and water. You have water and food in abundance, so sometimes you take it for granted. But it's not until you lose it where you realize how bad you need it. So that's one way I try my best to value what I do more than anything else, but to understand art is food for the soul. And, just imagine a room with no windows, no art around, and you're just in there. It would be kind of boring, right? And sometimes I wonder, is that why they call it a boardroom? Because most of the time it's just nothing in there, but with the lack of creativity or whatever, it's just like you're in a room and you can't wait to go outside, look at the trees, listen to some music or whatever. So art is very pivotal and powerful in all our lives, even if we don't realize it. So with that said, I have two more things I want to say. Right here, I have a painting that I'm going to unveil right now. I've had art shows and things like that. I put together my own art shows. I've had exhibitions at the Flag Art Foundation, the New York Academy of Art, and I always try to unveil something new. And for most of you, you haven't seen this, and there are going to be two more pieces out here during the break that we can check out as well. Is there anybody back here to help me unveil this? So this painting is called Wadlington and the Nine Muses, and this was one of my biggest works to date. So let's do this now. 1, 2, 3. So obviously. Thanks a lot. So who are the Nine Muses? I was a big fan of, I still am a big fan of Greek mythology in general. I'm a fan of knowledge and just kind of learning everything I can learn. So growing up, I always was a fan of mythology. The Nine Muses in Greek mythology were the goddesses of inspiration. And around 2022, I wanted to take my skills up or my mindset up to another level and challenge myself and push myself. So I said, what would be the best representation of that? So I wanted to channel the Nine Muses for inspiration. And then I said I wanted to put it in a painting. So at the time, before she became my wife, I asked Dejanay, I said, do you know 9 women that will be willing to pose like this for a painting for me? And she was like, yes, I got you. And literally, we gathered nine women, teachers, nurses. They really care and love art, and they were willing to do that. And we all know how hard it is to, get people all in the same room, everybody being free on the specific day, but we made it happen. So this art in itself is a story beyond even the story that's inside of this painting, but just the bringing together a people is another important attribute of art. And that's me laying down there in a dreamlike state, sleeping, channeling that inspiration. And yes, so I could talk about this once again all day. If you look down here, there's a scroll that says Imagine. And Imagine was a poem that I wrote in 2009 before I got back serious with art. And I want to share that with you guys, and then I'll end it there, and then we can kind of talk more later. So the poem is called Imagine. Imagine. Imagine being born only to be raised by your grandmother. Imagine that she took you in so that you wouldn't suffer. Imagine your mother suffering the pain of losing her 2 kids. Imagine your mother having schizophrenia and she would never take her meds. Imagine your father joining the army to become a soldier. But what if he couldn't bear the weight of the world on his shoulders? Imagine your pops killing himself when you're only 2. Can you imagine this kind of pain? Oh yeah, what would you do? How about this? Imagine being 5 and losing most of the vision in your left eye. Can you imagine the pain? Can you imagine the anger? Can you imagine half your sight being lost because of a hanger? Have you yet to fathom this pain? Countless days of tears so big you would mistake it for rain. Imagine your heart getting harder. Imagine your grandmother being your mom and your uncle being your father. Imagine being young and losing your home. Imagine living every day like a rolling stone. Imagine trying to escape for a day, maybe 2, maybe 3. Imagine never getting what you wanted under the Christmas tree. Imagine trying to fit in like the normal kids. Imagine that your new parents is child services. Imagine being separated from your only sister. Imagine moving far away and not knowing the next time you see her. Imagine growing up around guns, drugs, and sex, peer pressure and such. All I want to know is, can y'all handle that rush? Imagine living with your uncle, your man, your homie. Now imagine that man stealing most of your money. Imagine if I said it was the value of 10,000 sneakers. Imagine if I told you that my uncle was a preacher. Then can you fathom my pain, or shall I continue unless you get soaked in the rain? Imagine being an intelligent and creative mind. Imagine being an artist. Imagine living my life, yet trying to get into college. Imagine losing hope in your talents. Imagine that you felt like you had no balance. Imagine coming home from the gig, your grandmother sitting you down and telling you that your mom was just found dead. But I stand in this room and I wonder where I would be if I let all that take me under. Instead, I harness that pain and I use it for gain. I have great friends that I've long called fam. I've traveled the world, I've visited foreign lands, I've read many books and received many teachings, getting all that I can, and the road to success is my master plan. And I should fear nothing in this world, especially no man, for all these things have made me the man that I am. Imagine. Thank you.
Thank you, Justin.